just have a quick video here about Snareside Heads. If you have a snare drum and it just doesn't sound quite right, maybe it sounds a little bit lifeless or thin, you need to check your Snareside head. This is a Majestic orchestral snare drum that I just purchased used, and overall it's in good condition. I'm taking it apart because I'm a little weird and I want it to be perfect. But when this Snareside head was under tension, the only dents you could see were these ones right here, these little ones, and they didn't look that bad. They looked really small, okay? But I just knew the drum didn't sound quite right. So, and like I said, I wanted to clean it, so I started by taking off the Snareside head. And you can see once you release the tension, the thing looks like the surface of the moon. There's just craters everywhere. So if this is what your Snareside head looks like when it's not under tension, your snare is not going to sound right. Additionally, you have to be careful with the Snareside head. Now this is a Diplomat, which is 2 mil. This is the thinnest you can get. Most orchestral snares are going to have 2 mil heads, and the sort of default for non-orchestral snares is 3 mil. So that would be the Ambassador or the Evans 300. They're both super thin, okay? They're like paper thin. So Diplomats are a little bit thinner, but they're both really vulnerable. So if you ever see people tuning Snareside heads and they're tapping with a drumstick, no, do not do that. You're going to dent the head. And when the head's under tension, you won't see it. But it'll stretch where you hit it with the drumstick because, again, they're paper thin, and it'll adversely affect the sound of the drum, okay? Additionally, you've got to be careful that you don't put the drum down on anything, on the bottom head, okay? If you set it down on the ground and there's a stone or something like that or a piece of wood, it's going to dent the head, all right? So you have to treat these as the fragile heads that they are. And if you do that, then they will last a really, really long time, okay? I almost never change out Snareside heads once I put a new one on because I don't damage my heads. I don't hit them with drumsticks. I'm very careful when I transport them, when I put them in cases, you know, etc. And they take a long time to wear out. Now, eventually they will stretch and you'll just have to replace them. But that can take years. I mean, you might go through 3 or 4 batter heads before you need to change the Snareside head if you take good care of the drum. So check your Snareside heads if your drum doesn't sound right, and be careful with your Snareside heads on all of the snare drums you own.